What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for yet another panel show, and we have got James Black, the voice of Spurs. James, good to have you back with us, and especially after a top weekend like we've just had.
Yeah, that was absolutely incredible, wasn't it? That was the perfect weekend. Battering West Ham, Chelsea losing, Woolwich losing, Woolwich complaining all over social media. Couldn't be any better, to be honest, yeah.
Exactly. If Carlsberg made weekends, they'll definitely make it very similar to the way we just had it.
What was it like in the stadium? Were you doing your set before the game?
Yeah, pre-game was great atmosphere, and post-game was just incredible. Yeah, it was amazing. It was it's been growing and growing each time. I get so humbled by it, and I can't see right to the back now, which is just they're so loud. And then after I finished at the stadium, I went down to Bill Nick to do like another gig at the Bill Nick pub.
Right, nice.
Yeah, it's amazing. Something I'm going to start doing with the pubs there.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, that was packed still then, and then it was great, man. It was just awesome. And then I stayed there with the fans to watch the Cherries.
So what time would you start your set at the Bill Nick? Like an hour after the game?
So I'm contracted to the club, so I wait until the club's stadium is shut, and then a half hour later I'll do a set at Bill Nick. So I think it's 12:30 kickoff. So I was playing at Bill Nick around 4:30, something like that. Finished at the stadium around 4, and then I played until the Cherries game, basically. So about 5:15, 5:30. And then sat and watched that. It was just a beautiful day, mate.
Oh, mate.
Should have done another gig after the Arsenal.
Yeah. I hear you've been doing world tours as well. Tell me about that.
Yeah, it's been insane, really. It's just been chatting to chairmen of like official supporters groups. They just get in touch like through social media, and we chat and work something out. And I've got so many. I think I've only got about 2 or 3 dates left because I'm doing it for an away game. So when it's an away game, they'll have a watch along. I'm not playing at the stadium because it's an away game. I'll go to the supporters club, play pre and post games, just bringing the stadium to them basically as much as I can with the atmosphere. And it's been working out well. We've done Italy, done Malta. Going to Dublin, Denmark, America, talking to Canada now, and Dubai we're talking to. So it's just basically me and them. There's nobody else involved, and we're just thrashing it out to get something that makes sense. And it's unbelievable. They're so passionate, mate. The passion in these places is. You've seen it. I've seen it through your videos when you go to these places, and everybody knows you, and you feel like you feel part of something, don't you? And they're so passionate about Spurs and can't get to the stadium. It's just a little bit of a bridge, I suppose, that works quite well. Same with you guys with them.
Well, what kind of turnouts are you getting when you go abroad for these gigs?
Yeah, good. Like again, just shocked. It's really good, and it's not just that. It's also the people know me. I'm getting used to. Like I was walking around Gozo next to Malta, and obviously only Spurs fans, but people knowing me, I just can't get used to it, really. I'm used to it a little bit at the stadium. It's fun, but it's when you're over in other parts of the world, it's really nice. It's a dream, to be honest with you. I've got the dream job, and yeah, the turnouts are great, and looking to do as much.
Any plans to go to Korea?
Yeah, definitely. It was. I think Ben, you messaged me. I think even you was over there, weren't you? You was going over there.
We were there in the summer. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was it was very close then. I'm not quite sure the ins and outs of why it didn't happen, but I'm talking to there's Yoonbi who does the stuff with Spurs career now. She's been on the pitch a few times. I'm talking to her. She's a reporter for them, and there's definite interest, is what I'm told. So it's just a long flight, isn't it? So it's making something make sense. But also had Sydney and Melbourne that want to do something at the end of season. They have something called the National. So they want to do something, but it might clash with the game. So we're looking into post-season for that as well.
I think we should plan a trip to Korea together. We are Tottenham TV and James Black on tour together. I think that sounds got a good ring to it.
Oh, mate, I'm well up for that, man. Yeah, I mean, you missed last time. I was well up for it. But I was in Central America at the time. But yeah, let's make it happen. That'd be quite. I saw the reception you guys got, and that was amazing.
Yeah, it was a very humbling experience. I loved every second of it. But just before we get into Spurs stuff, I just want to let the people know about an EP that you're bringing out. All proceeds do go to the Tottenham Food Bank. So maybe if you want to just tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so basically I've been in there a few times. They run themselves out of Tottenham Town Hall, and I've been in there a few times to chat with them after meeting someone from Tottenham Food Bank, and they let me know donations were down, and at the same time that there's a lot of pressure on a lot of people needing this the help. And they're an amazing charity, very close to my heart. It's not just the food; they provide a lifeline for people, like in all aspects, going through the cost of living crisis we've got in a minute. So we come together. I said, look, what can we do together that's going to actually make things change a little bit if we can. So it's downloading the songs. Every single penny. It's not profit. It's every single penny goes to Tottenham Food Bank. We did like a contract with them just so it was legit, totally legit with the charity. And also, we're gonna use charitable awareness. So we're going to use the EP to shine a light on Tottenham Food Bank through things like talking to it with yourselves, and where people can donate, which is to their crowdfunder, and they can have a look at the donations from that. But yeah, donations are down. A lot of people are in need. People are going up with the donations down. It's quite critical at the minute. So as much help as you can get. And every time the song's played, donations and the money goes straight to Food Bank, and they get every penny. I've swallowed all the costs for it basically, and it's recorded live at the stadium, so it's the fans singing. It's not me singing these songs. It's the club put mics in for me. We took the crowd singing and built the songs off the back of it. So the club have helped me with that too. It's been great.
So how can people download the EP? Is it out yet, or when's it going to be out?
So it comes out on Friday, and there'll be I'll put something on my social media, The Voice of Spurs, and there will be every link that you can go to. So it'll be across all streaming services like Spotify, iTunes, wherever you're listening to your music. If you just search The Voice of Spurs, and the EP will come out. It's called Black and Lily White, and it's about obviously themselves and the fans singing the songs that we do at the stadium, basically.
Well, brilliant. Unbelievable work from you, James, and commend you for it for sure. And I do stress that people should go and download the EP that put on by James. You said Friday it's coming out, so keep an eye out for that on James's social media. But let's get into Spurs, and we're going to start talking about our captain, our talisman, the main man, which is Son Heung-min. And it just drives me absolutely mad when every season we hear it. We've heard it this season, we heard it last season, the season before. He's washed, he's finished, he's over the hill, he's this, he's that. And they're talking about Sonny. And every single year, he proves the doubters wrong every single time. And it just drives me mad. Why do you think we keep hearing this from certain sections of the fan base? Why do people want to doubt Sonny when he just proves people wrong every single time?
I really don't understand it, but yeah, you're right. I can remember the last time when he was doubted, wasn't he? And then he come on as a sub and scored a hat-trick against Leicester. Do you remember them times? I think that was insane. Yeah, it happens every year. I guess it's as a footballer gets older, it starts in the media maybe as well. The media likes to ignite stuff like that. But there's something that I heard that I heard it yesterday. It was that the Korean age is 1 year younger anyway, isn't it? They age people differently with Korea. So 32 is 31.
I think it's 1 year older. I think
no,
when they're born, is it younger?
Yeah, it's younger. So they're born as one.
They're born as one. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So he's actually 31.
So that'll make them older.
Yeah, that would make them a year older.
Oh, would it? Yeah, but a year older, but like he's actually is younger, so it makes it 32, but he'd be 31, no?
I think no, because he's born at 1. So if he's 32 in our stage, he'll be 33. I think in Korean years. But actually, the age that we look at him at is actually his real age, not his Korean age.
Either way, he's absolutely incredible. I'm not part of the doubting brigade, to be honest. And looking back on, I've watched Match of the Day 6 times since it's been going.
Is that it?
Yeah. That was after coming back from both the gigs and singing all day about something. But yeah, that goal, it's typical Sonny as well. When he started that step over, there's only one thing happening. And yes, you could probably have a look at the goalkeeper there because it was near post, but he could have gone anywhere. So that's what it does, and it doesn't give you any chance.
But he was looking a lot fresher, wasn't he? On this occasion, he looked a lot sharper, and I think that 2-week break really helped him, didn't it? Because look, as much as I think he's been in general performing quite well this season. You could see he was struggling with a few injury problems before. Obviously, when that Karabag game, he was holding his thigh a bit, and maybe he was losing. He didn't have that kind of explosiveness that we saw in the West Ham game, and maybe having that 2-week break or a bit longer, because obviously if there was a few weeks before that he was out anyway. Maybe having that little rest has given him a bit of a recharge, and I think we saw a fresher Sonny than maybe we had before the international break.
I think you're bang right, and I think. I wonder if I don't think we'll see him Thursday, and I wonder if we'll see him even in the cups. I think that they did allude to that, didn't they? I think that Anne Jansson had come out and saying about the going across to international duty and everything being a lot stretched as he gets older. I do agree with that sense of his age, that he's not going to be able to play every game. But at the same sense, going a little bit off topic, if we see Mikey Moore start again on Thursday, that's brilliant for me, because that could be like a long-term replacement if we are thinking further down the line, 3 or 4 years or whatever it is. I just don't want to see Timo really. I'd like to see Mikey come in for Sonny. But yeah, maybe he was. He went down, didn't he, at Karabag as well, and he was taken off. And so yeah, there was a bit of a concern. I think you're absolutely bang right. The break has given him that back to Sonny. But I don't think he was struggling as much as what people were saying either, though. I don't apply a value to that, really. I think he's been, and again, looking at them highlights, I did 6 times. Sonny's off the ball work as well. Him alongside Solanke, the stuff that he do off the ball, he was involved in everything. So yeah, a big miss. And go on, sorry.
Go on.
I was going to say, if he was there for the second half in Brighton, maybe that capitulation would.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I think he deserves a lot of praise for parts of his game which he doesn't get praise for, because obviously we know Son is a brilliant finisher. We know in front of goal, if you give him a chance to shoot, he's going to more than likely find the back of the net. He's been one of the most clinical finishers in the Premier League for a number of years now, but his passing abilities definitely has gone under the radar, hasn't it? That pass to Udogie with the outside of his boot was absolutely sensational. It was like something Maddison will do, or Odegaard, or something, something a number 10 would do. That he did a similar pass as well to Kulusevski for the 3rd goal. And a lot of people, even I have as well, questioned, his creativity on that left-hand side, whether he's creative enough to really perform in an Ange system the way we need him to. But from what I'm seeing lately, especially as well, you look at the Brentford game, I think it was 7 chances created in that game as well. He was really laying them on a plate many, many times for his teammates. Are we really starting to see Son adapt that part of his game where he's able to create a high level of chances?
Yeah, definitely. I reckon it's been drummed into him probably with the way that Ange ball is now. Everyone has to play their part. But yeah, I see. For looking back again at all the highlights, Son and Solanke are not praised enough for the stuff off the ball they're doing, or the chances before the assist, and just how much they're involved is quite incredible for me. Like I love to see that. Even obviously the own goal coming from Sonny as well. It was his shot, but yeah, he was involved in everything, and it was a real captain's performance. But yeah, I'm not part of this Sonny is washed up scenario. I really don't understand that. I mean, he takes really good care of himself. I think he just needs to maybe not be playing every game. He needs to watch what games he plays at this age, which is what we can do. We can save him for the Premier League and maybe the knockouts of Europa.
Yeah, I mean, just to give you an example of these people I was here doing the watch long for the West Ham game. I was gutting not to be in the stadium, but in the first half, my whole chat was filled with Sonny's finish, Sonny's playing rubbish, Sonny's this, Sonny's that. And I'm sitting there being like, Sonny has literally been one of our best players in this first half, alongside Kulusevski. And then the second half comes, and he obviously had his hand in 3 of the goals. And then all my chat was like, Sonny's amazing, and Sonny's... I was like, the biggest flip-flops in history. And I'm looking at it and looking at the stats. 5 goal contributions in 6 Premier League games this season.
Yeah.
Last season, he got 27 goal contributions in 35 games. I mean, how can anyone call this guy washed is beyond belief, man. I think this guy's a phenomenon. I still think he's our best player, and long may it continue because, like you say, I think he takes really good care of himself, and we just need to manage his minutes. And if we do that, we're going to be seeing a top Sonny for quite some time still, I think. I still think that we need to give him a new contract, not just the trigger. I think we need to extend it by 2 years at least, because I still think he's got a lot more to give.
Yeah, and you also got to remember, like I think you alluded to it earlier, where he's adapted his game, isn't he? He's lost his partnership with Kane that he was used to for so many years, and he's gone on and adapted. That's not easy. We think that's easy, but he's got to completely change his game again because he's losing the one focal point that he's had for so many years. That's all completely changed. And another manager's come in and playing a completely different way, and he's still doing what he's doing. He's still pulling up these figures. So yeah, I'm definitely in the for Son camp and renewing that contract. When does it run out? Is it next year? End of next year?
End of this season, I think.
Yeah, officially it's end of this season, but we can trigger a year extension, which will go obviously to the end of next season. But I think we just need to give him a new contract, give him some bigger wages as well.
Oh, absolutely.
He deserves it.
Yeah, since he's become captain as well, captain the club, they should get a contract that represents that as well.
Do you know that he's got more goal contributions now in the Premier League than Alan Shearer?
You what?
Is he really?
You know that?
No, I didn't know that. That can't be right.
That's what I read somewhere. It might be right. How many goals has Shearer got?
Shearer got 260 Premier League goals.
That's true, and he's on 250.
Yeah.
Maybe I got that stat wrong.
That can't be right, yeah.
He's going to be on more than Shearer by the end of it.
Yeah, but I think what James said is absolutely right, because in terms of keeping Son fresh
What
and
did I
giving him a
read
break,
about him and Alan Shearer?
because I think Son, for all his incredible ability and whatever, he never quite looks as good when he's not fresh. When he's at his sharpest and he's looking fresh and explosive, that's when you're seeing the best of Son. When maybe sometimes he's looking a bit sluggish and he's about the game, loses the ball a bit cheaply and stuff like that, that comes when he's being overplayed, and that comes when he's not being kept on ice and being kept fresh. And at 32, he, as you say, he can't play every minute of every game. He can't be that guy who's just relentlessly on the pitch, week in, week out. And I think even he admitted at the beginning of the season he was probably playing a bit too much.
I know the stat.
So yeah, I think James is absolutely right. Like for these midweek games, and he can play his part, but we have to manage him properly to keep him fresh. So when he's starting games, he looks explosive, and we're seeing him his absolute freshest.
The stat is that he's got more for one club than Alan Shearer.
Aha.
That's the stat.
More for one. So he got more goal contributions for Spurs than Shearer for Newcastle, essentially.
Yeah. That's incredible.
That's mad.
Yeah, that is mad.
Go on, Sonny.
Good, Sonny boy.
Yeah, and it's just so great when he's in full flight like he was on Saturday, isn't it? It's just a sight to behold. There are very few players that get you off your seat like that than like Sonny can.
There's a big difference between, and I don't want to sort of keep putting this guy out, but there's a big difference between seeing Sonny in that position and Werner in that position. And although Werner's faster, it means nothing if the ball don't go in the net. And as soon as that first step over happened, I thought this is definitely a goal.
Yeah, no doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
And just the stats, the numbers behind Sonny are just incredible. In the top 20 now of goals of all time in the Premier League, in the top 10 for goal contributions for one club. Like I said, just gone ahead of Shearer this weekend. So, I mean, the guy's a phenomenon. He's a Premier League legend, and the stats back it up. And hopefully, we can give him that trophy that he thoroughly deserves by the end of his Spurs career. Let's move on and let's talk about James Maddison, because obviously James Maddison, in my opinion, he's had a fairly good season this year, but he was taken off at half-time in the West Ham game, much to his dismay. And Spurs did get better in that second half with Pape Matar giving us a bit more balance, I think, in that midfield, a bit more running off the ball, and we went on to win the game. Do you feel like Maddison should retain his spot for the next Premier League game, or should we persist with maybe what we went in the second half with Pape Matar coming in?
Well, I'm going to start with complete honesty. And when that substitution was made, I was actually like, what are you doing? This is 1-1. We've got taken off a creative player. What you now put Sarr on? Oh, God. And then thinking that it's going to be as bad as Brighton again, I was a little bit concerned, if I'm absolutely honest with you. I did see something, although I don't know how true this is, that Maddison created the most first chance in the first half, and obviously it was his run, Kulusevski as well. I think in answer to your question, I don't think it's a case of dropping Maddison. I think it's going to be the right players for the right games against the right opposition, because we're now shown to have strength in depth and, dare I say it, adapting to something that's going on, an in-game management thing that we can now do, changing that up. But there was a bit of where Kulusevski and Maddison are pushing forward quite a bit. There was a bit more of a gap that Basuma had to deal with on his own, and obviously Sarr didn't do that as much within hindsight, which is why I'm not a manager and Angie is. I wasn't up for that change, but I obviously was 15 minutes later after it happening. I think Maddison's great, but I maybe think against the low block sort of team, we might need new two number 10s. But against maybe your Chelseas and your Man Cities and your top clubs there, you would need maybe more of a Basuma and Bentancur or Sarr in there as well. Definitely wouldn't drop Kulusevski. Can't do that. So that's where I think he is needed to rotate rather than drop in my mind. For example, I wouldn't mind. He might get a start on Thursday if that's thinking if he's not going to be playing him against Palace. I'm not too sure. So. But then we've got
it's interesting, isn't it? Because Maddison and Decky have created such a good dynamic together, haven't they, in the games? But before the West Ham game, and even in the West Ham game, as you say, I don't think Maddison was playing badly, and not only did he create the most chances in that first half, he actually created more chances in that half than anyone else in the Premier League did the whole weekend.
Yeah.
So that goes to show, how.
I think. Do you think it was help though? Because Spurs did have 12 corners in the first half, and he did take all of them.
Well, we must have a few of them must have been good corners then, because even though I don't remember too many of them being good, a few of them must have hit the target. I don't know if any of them were from corners or not. Obviously, he also got an assist for Kulusevski's goal,
brilliant assist,
which was a nice assist as well. Ran half the pitch and laid it into Kulusevski. And not only did he do that, people don't appreciate, but his run from inside to out then creates that space for Decky to cut inside and get that goal. So I think he deserves credit. Obviously, as you say, James. Brilliant foresight from Ange to take him off and bring on Sarr and do that tactical switch. But do we want to risk losing that kind of double-edged creative sword that we have with Decky and Maddison together on a more regular basis, or is it do we want to persist with it and just do like what we did on Saturday? If it's not working, then we bring on Sarr, or is there a case that actually having Sarr there just in general gives us better balance, and maybe we should be starting with Sarr next to Decky?
Well, the best thing about that question is, for the first time in a long time, really, overall, we've got these options. We've got that beautiful problem where we have got something that we can change if it's not quite working. Now, I can't remember a Tottenham team that had too much of that in the midfield, where we go, okay, this isn't working, so we need to adapt. And obviously, Ange has seen that. The other thing is that it worked, and it kind of worked both ways, really. The first half wasn't terrible by Tottenham. It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible by Tottenham, and Maddison did create a lot. So both options do kind of work, but and he can see that his in-game management was so good there that we'll be using the right players at the right times. And I think you're also going to be throwing in Bergvall into that mix, and I want to see a lot more of him as well. So I think it's a great time at the club at the minute if things like this are happening. And I did, although that capitulation against Brighton, you got to think about the games before that, and we just tore Manchester United apart at Old Trafford. It's a good time, and we've got some options, and the players have obviously been bollocked after Brighton, but the players believe in Ange Ball, and I think this is what his whole thing is about, shutting out the outside noise. If the players believe it, then we're going to be going places. And they did believe, didn't they, and that they could carry on and get the win. So, I like the fact that we've got all these options, and I think it's going to be a case of which opposition is going to suit which midfield. And the fact that I got it wrong, I've been bringing it off, I'm probably not the best place to see. I wanted to see Maddison carry on. I don't know who else did, but I didn't like Maddison coming off when we were at 1-1. I just didn't understand it, but I was proved wrong, thankfully.
Yeah, when I saw Sarr coming on, I was like, there's got to be for Basuma, but I thought Basuma was having a really good game as well. Yeah. So I didn't really understand. I thought maybe someone had taken a knock, but no, it was purely tactical. And do you think something like that, because when you look at Maddison, vice-captain of the club, omitted from the England squad for the Euros, omitted from the last couple of international squads this year as well, and then coming off at half time. Do you think something like that can knock his confidence, or do you think he won't be affected like that and maybe he'll just come back stronger?
Could go two ways. I don't really know Maddison's character inside out, but you can see he's the sort of person that could possibly take it to heart. But he had a great pre-season and a good start to the season. He was fantastic against Leicester, I thought, as well at the start of the season in that game. And I think that was probably down to having Kulusevski and Bergvall breathing down his neck. I remember talking in the interviews afterwards saying, when it comes to on the match day, I'm so focused and I can do this. I can bigging himself up almost. And he didn't really see that from a player before, from Maddison before. So I think it can go two ways, and it's all down to him in which way. And I think there's no better really man management on that with Ange getting in his ear and telling him that this is still completely down to you, and it's how you react to this. And you're a big player, you're a vice captain, you've got to be leading the others. He's definitely fantastic at all that, Ange, isn't he? So I still think we're going to see the best of Maddison. But I don't think it's a case of dropping him. No, I think it's in my head I see it as gentle rotation, like all the kind of top clubs do. They don't make wholesale changes. They make gentle rotation in areas to tactically change.
But for you, Decky's just playing so well at the moment. You just feel like Decky's above him in the pecking order for the time being?
Yeah. I think Decky's not only above him. I honestly believe. My guess is he'll be player of the season for Spurs this season, and I think he'll be one of the top in the whole of the Premier League. I think he's been that good. He's been incredible. He's been a revelation. I saw him in that position at the start of last season when we was 1-0 down at Sheffield United that time, and he pulled the strings to get them two kind of last-minute goals, and I liked it then. You know what I mean? He's brilliant. When he was out on the wing, he was getting found out a little bit. He was getting worked out, and people kind of predictable, I suppose, a little bit. And in the middle, he's so strong as well. When you look back at him keeping the ball, he's so strong, and he could be up there. Maybe this name obviously is iconic, but with the Moussa Dembélé, if he carries on with this form and the kind of way he plays and keeps the ball, it's superb.
Could be a Moussa Dembélé with end product.
Yeah, which is a lot of his good work is stuff which I think stats a lot of the time don't pick up, albeit he is, there are definitely stats that display how good he is. But if you're looking at just barefaced goals and assists, I think it's 2 goals, 1 assist or something. And, they're not like he's not up there yet with like the best forwards in the league right now in terms of those numbers. And maybe that's just why he's gone a bit under the radar when it comes to general discussion about Kulusevski, because obviously Spurs fans can see week in, week out how good he is because we're watching the whole 90 minutes, and so much of his good work happens, in that middle of the park where he's gliding past players and he's keeping the ball in these tight situations. You're like, how the hell has he still got it and stuff like that? Yeah, I talk to general fans. I've seen other fans talk about him, and they don't realise how good he is. They still think he's inconsistent. They still think, oh, is he that player, who's going to take you to the next level? Is he a player that is good enough to be playing week in, week out in that position? I'm like, you clearly are watching us, are you? So do you think it's just a case of to really appreciate Decky, if you all you have to do is just watch him for 90 minutes, you see what he brings?
I think what you're saying there at the end, I think you get a lot more flavour for what he brings when you're at the stadium, like watching his off the ball stuff. But he's also the captain of Sweden, wasn't he, during the international breaks? It's a massive thing. So it's not just Tottenham fans that are seeing this, like to captain your country. And we've got that spine almost now. We've got, because Bassuma's captain of Mali, I think, and Kulusevski's now captain of Sweden. We've got Son, captain of South Korea. We're starting to get this leadership that, again, this club has screamed out for so many years. But, I can't say enough about Kulusevski. I think he's been superb. But to be in the stadium and watch him and watch where he takes players away and stuff like that, similar again to Solanke and Son, was superb. But the only person I've seen that's like him with keeping that ball is Dembélé. And I've missed Dembélé since the very day that he went. That's a big gaping hole in Spurs. So if he can get anywhere near to closing that hole for me, it'll be amazing.
Yeah, I called him on the watch along on the weekend a ball retention wizard. The guy just can't lose the ball even if he tries to. The guy is a phenomenon this season, Dejan Kulusevski, and it's something I was calling for all of last season. Get him in the middle because you're wasting him out on the right. And I'll even say if you're going to keep him on the right, there's no point keeping him at this football club because you're just wasting him. You're just wasting the talent that he does have. So I can't be happy with Kulusevski. I completely agree with you. If he carries on in this vein of form from now to the end of the season, he will be considered as one of the best players in the Premier League come the end of the season. And even we were talking to West Ham Fan TV before the game, and the subject of Kulusevski comes on, and he's like, yeah, but Kulusevski's been rubbish for you, hasn't he? And I was like, what? What are you saying? He's like, you clearly haven't watched us then, have you?
Who's that reporter as well? That tweet that always comes out when they do it, wasn't it? Is that the reporter that said
the Juventus reporter?
Yeah.
When we first signed him, he said you have fun with Kulusevski. You can't beat a man or something.
Yeah. Idiots, man, idiots. The guy has got pure talent.
Don't you think as well? Long may he stay off other people's radars. I don't mind. Do you know what I mean? Like he's.
I'm happy with it
for sure. And if people aren't giving him extra focus, it just means he can do more damage. That's all that means.
Yeah, I'm sure the management of other clubs, he's not going under the radar from
probably.
them.
Probably.
Let's talk about our number 6, Bissouma and Bentancur, because Bentancur's had a fairly good season this year. Obviously not the greatest performance at Brighton, but I think apart from that, I think he's been performing really well. But then Bissouma, in his own right as well, is having a really good season. Ever since the balloon gate, I feel like he's responded in the most perfect manner, probably saving the best till last against West Ham, where I thought Bissouma was an absolute monster in that middle of the park. So who do you think maybe has the shirt at the moment in terms of the number 6 position, and who do you prefer in that role for Spurs?
Again, that's a tough question, but it's a brilliantly tough question. I'm glad that we have that question, and there is no definite answer. Is my first point. The second thing is to bring it up, but Bentancur, I don't know what's happening with the ban. So if something happens with Bissouma, it's a bit of a problem there. So maybe that needs to be a little bit addressed. And the other thing I find very interesting is they were interviewing him on Spurs Play after the game, and they said to him, what's it like? Because he's used to obviously going forward. How hard is it to hold that position to protect? He said it's very, very hard, but you just got to stay disciplined and stay focused. So it's obviously come from a little bit down to balloon gate. I think you're right. I think that's made him sort of get focused, got a slap around the back of the legs for what he did. And it's turned him into this player, and that's got to be down to Ange. He's brought that out of him. He's made him focus. He's given him like the responsibility, I suppose, if you want, of like, you're protecting this defence, and he's doing it great. I think it just about goes to Bissouma. Lovely problem to have. I love Bentancur. I think he's absolutely superb. He brings a bit more flair to it. But I think the way that we play with such a high line and having that defence, and sometimes you look how open we are. I think Bissouma's a little bit more suited to that in the top games. But I think, again, gentle rotation. You won't lose hardly any how good we are in that number 6 role. And also, to throw another spanner in the works, I'd like to see someone like maybe Archie Gray on Thursday in that number 6 role. I've never seen him there, but he was great for Leeds in certain areas. He played against Chelsea for Leeds in that number 6 role and sort of run the show a bit there. So it's an even bigger lovely problem, I think, than just two of them. But my number 1's Bissouma, probably there overall at the moment.
Yeah, but it's so great, as you say, to have 2 of those number 6s playing at a good level at the moment, where we're not sure which one we should play because they're both in such good form. A lot of the talk at the beginning of the season was, that's a position that we desperately need to upgrade, and that position is a position where if we don't upgrade, then it's going to hold us back. But they're both performing very well at the moment. So what's your feeling on that in general? Like, do you still feel like we have to have a new player in that position, or do you think the solution could be internal with those 2?
No, I think they've answered it well. I think I don't think it's no longer a position that but I was the same as you guys thinking. We need number 6, but I don't think it's as much now. I think if you have like Bissouma, Bentancur, Gray, you've got 3 there. Why would we go out and spend money in the market of something where we've got 3, we've got 2 now that are performing brilliantly there. We can't really choose too much between them. And then we've got an incredible backup. But when Gray come on, he looks so composed, doesn't he? He
always touch in the box, wasn't it? It was incredible the way he took it away from Jarrod Bowen.
That's it. Yeah, brilliant. And I think we've actually gone from this is a trouble position to strength in depth within a few months. And I don't think we need to be looking at that position, to be honest. There is few.
I think a lot will say come the end of the season, because we are only 8 games in, and obviously this time last season we didn't think we had too many problems in that position either, because Bissouma was performing out of his skin, and then he lost it, didn't he? After the first 10 games, mistakes started to creep in, confidence started to sap out his game. So I want to see it over a longer stretch of time from Bissouma, because we've seen this before where he performs really well at the start of the season, then goes off the boil. I'm very happy with him at the moment, don't get me wrong, but I just want to see consistency throughout the season from him, because I don't think we've seen that in a Spurs shirt yet.
No, and that red card against Luton, when it after that, he didn't come back as the same player, did he? No, you're
exactly.
Right.
Yeah, but at least now, but if that happens with Bissouma, now we've got Bentancur to come in, whereas last season, Højbjerg wasn't really cutting it in that position, was he?
Yeah.
I don't think Bentancur maybe had the fitness to play that position. But I'm really encouraged that Bentancur's finally getting to full fitness now. And it's probably a shame for him because, I know he had a bad game against Brighton, like a lot of the team did. But you could probably argue he didn't deserve to lose his place to Bissouma. But he did come out of the team, and Bissouma took his chance, didn't he? So you talked about Bentancur's ban obviously looming. We'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But do you feel like we're seeing Bentancur signs of him getting back to his best as well? Because after that long injury, he wasn't quite the same, was he, last season? But we're seeing a new Bentancur in this season, aren't we?
Yeah, definitely. I don't think with Bissouma's rise means that Bentancur is going out of form, and why he's in the team is because of any bad form from Bentancur. I think it's just literally he feels he was more suited for that team. Again, similar to maybe the Kulusevski and Maddison. I don't think that we're going to see a 3 in midfield constantly like that. I don't think we're going to see that because there's too many good players in there that can do the same job. I think what we'll see, hopefully, with all these games and what Ange cried out for is a gentle rotation. For you could put Bentancur or Bissouma in there, and you'd be happy going with that lineup, wouldn't you? Be going into a game, you'd be looking at those. The one thing I will say though is that was Bentancur losing his place after Bentancur didn't have an international break. I think he had a bit of rest there, and he's still Bissouma. So I imagine that's something to throw into the pack about where he sees his top player there at the moment.
Yes.
So maybe there is a gap. What we think.
Michael McCormack is in the comments, and he's saying, "Do you have an Archie Gray song yet?" That's a good
do
question.
Actually. I have two or three ideas. I'm waiting for him to get a nice. It's a nice game to drop it, but there's a few ideas out there.
He's keeping it on ice. And very clever, very clever. We're ready to go. All right. As soon as Gray drops an absolute, an absolute stormer, we're coming right to James Black. We're already waiting.
Come to me. They're ready.
How many others you got in your back pocket?
Well, you kind of like.
Once Werner scores a hat trick, you don't know what he's got thinking.
It's such a fun job. I started doing well by writing about the game I was at. Like, I don't know if you guys were there, but I'd change like little bits about a certain game I was at. So you kind of like work off what the fan wants to hear right there and then a little bit as well. So I do it quite quickly in my head, really. It's quite a fun job. It's quite quick to do. But yeah, I've got quite a few in my back pocket here and there, and just try and bring the right runs out at the right time. Much like Ange with this midfield, just got to use the right ones at the right times. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I just love all the songs that you make. I sometimes just see myself just singing them around the flat. I'm going to get my son, who's 10 months old. He's going to be a whiz at all these songs by the time he's able to speak. So maybe I have to get him recording and send them over to you. But
so what I did see of you, I think it was on your birthday. I think that put up was McNamara's band on a tube. It was brilliant.
that was on the way to the Champions League final in Madrid.
I love that video.
I was steaming. I was absolutely steaming.
Whenever we have a bad defeat, James, there's this happy place. Go back to that video.
It was brilliant. Iconic.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love McNamara's band, man. I love that shit.
Were you on stage in Madrid, right? Was that you?
No, I was actually at the club had asked me to go to the stadium. And
you were at the stadium that day. Yeah.
Perform at the stadium in front of the fans that were all watching it on the screens.
That's right.
Because I wrote the Madrid song, I wrote the LA lyrics one.
That's right.
Not only was I the happiest ever in my life because we're in a final, then I get told that, and then that handball So it went from that to the absolute different.
Next time you're going to be on the fan zone in surely wherever the final is. No,
Bilbao.
Fan zone in Bilbao. We're going to have to keep the stage warm for you.
I'm there with the Archie Gray song from Michael McCormack.
And then Archie Gray's going to score the winner and we're going to lift the trophy. You know, the first time I think we saw you play was after the Everton game, last game of the season before the Champions League final. Well, you were playing.
You was on stage outside.
You were outside in the Park Lane Square, whatever it's called.
That's right. Yeah. Was that the first time you got? Yeah. I started at Wembley. Weirdly.
Oh, Wembley. Because I remember there was clips of GR. Do you remember clips of?
I don't think we ever saw it.
No, we never. I saw it on social media.
Where did you play at Wembley? At Box Park?
I played at the ground at some bars in Wembley. Like it's, I said to the club, there was someone playing, and I goes, "Why is he not playing Tottenham?" Like the job didn't exist, basically.
He was just playing like random songs. You mean?
Yeah, just playing like a bit of Superstition or something. No disrespect, brilliant musician. I said, "Well, can you give me a go? I'll give me a free ticket, and I'll come and play." And I did, and it just lucked out. And Mickey Hazard was there. And he said, I'll sing along if you start playing Spurs songs. So I was like, I've only got Spurs songs. I don't want to play anything else. And so we just no, really. And it just, because I wasn't really like a musician, I was more like a Spurs fan with a guitar. I think that's where it kind of sort of helped out for me, basically. But you guys helped me out loads. You shared something right at the start of that LA thing. Right? Do you remember?
Had a chat. I remember we shared one of his songs, yeah.
That's right. It was brilliant. So you helped me out loads at the start.
Amazing. And, we're always willing to share your stuff because it's absolutely brilliant. So keep doing what you're doing, my friend. Just want to finish off. Let's talk about how many changes we think we're going to make for the RZ game. Obviously, we've made a host of changes, particularly in the second game of the Europa League against Ferencvaros. Do you feel like it's going to be a similar lineup? How many changes do you think there'll be from the game against West Ham?
Well, I think that we'll probably make about 4. I don't think he'll go as much as he did in the Coventry game and the Fulham game last season, where the wholesale changes kind of like we got found out a bit too much there. So I'll hope he doesn't. But I think if you was to put in, Dragusin's only got 1 match game ban, I think.
He's back.
He's back now, yeah.
So I'd have him in. I'd probably just to rest the most important hamstrings in world football. And then I wouldn't change Vicario. I think we've tried that and that doesn't work. I'd like to see us go in the market actually for a real decent backup there. I wouldn't. I think I don't know what he'll do about the fullbacks. Porro could still do a job and still be okay for Palace. I think so. Wouldn't necessarily change that. I think that it'll change. Maybe might even change Solanke for Richarlison. We might see. Although just to give him some minutes, and if he's back, maybe he'll change that. And I'd love to see, as much as I love Sonny, I'd love to see Sonny taken out for Mikey Moore to give Sonny a rest and give Mikey Moore them minutes, because he looks not just brilliant on the pitch but off the field, the way he talks, the maturity. Keep giving him them minutes in them European games, and we're going to have someone there breathing down the neck that's going to be a lot better than Werner for me. And you probably mix up that midfield, because we just said about the 6 and there's so many changes that we can make without dropping too much of how good we are going to be in that midfield. I don't know if Albergville after his knock, but I'd still probably like to see him in there. And so I think 4 changes, maybe 4 to 5 maximum, but without losing too much quality.
I think I'm looking at more changes than that. And if I'm going to say the team that I want, it probably raise a few eyebrows, but I think we can get past this team, particularly at home. I mean, I'd agree with you. I'd put Vicario in goal. Centre backs I'll probably put as Davis and Dragusin. Right back Porro, left back Gray. I'll put Bentancur in the 6 alongside Sarr and Bergvall. And then in the front 3 I'd put Werner. I know you won't like to hear that, but Werner on the left, Moore on the right, and Richarlison up top. That's probably the lineup I would play. Would you agree?
I would go, because there's a fine balance, isn't there? Because I feel like you make too many changes, all of a sudden you can be a bit disjointed and people aren't, you're not unused to each other. But thankfully we have had 2 games already in Europa League where we've made a few changes. So hopefully the players that we bring in should be a bit more up to speed. But, Richarlison's been out and stuff like that. But I would go Vicario in goal, Gray right back, Davis left back, Probably go Dragoshin and Romero, I think. Then I'd go Bentancur, depending on Bergval's fitness. If Bergval's fit, I would start him.
Well, he was on the bench, wasn't he?
Who?
Bergval.
He was on the bench, so if he's fit enough to be on the bench, I'll probably start him. If not, I'd start Maddison because he only played 45 minutes on the weekend, so I'd start him with Sarr. And then I'd go, more on the right, Werner on the left. And I guess I would start Richarlison. If he's not fully fit to play, an hour, then I would start Solanke and bring Richarlison on earlier than we brought him on the weekend. But if we can give Solanke a rest, I would, because his freshness and his aggression and his work ethic is so important at front line. We need him fresh every week, I feel. It's so important for that pressing. And if the more we can get Richarlison up to speed, the better. So if Richarlison can play an hour, I would start him. If he can't play an hour, I would start Solanke and I would play Richarlison off the bench.
He does have previous, doesn't he? Like, even just 45 minutes. If he has 40, because he said Doggy only had 45 minutes in his legs. And he played him only for 45 minutes and took him off at half time. So I wouldn't be mad if he did that with Richarlison as well.
Yeah, true. If that's the case, I'll probably play Solanke first half just to get the game won, if we can, and then play Richarlison second half.
Yeah. Score prediction, James, for the weekend, for Thursday night?
Score prediction, I think we're going to get a clean sheet, which is strange, but I'm going 3-0 really, and I'm up for Richie getting a couple. That would be amazing. What you're saying just then about Solanke, when he got the injury, we did lose that a little bit, didn't we? We lose
100%.
Definitely, big time.
So I would like to see him rested actually, and I think Richarlison can definitely do a job against AZ. So. 3-0, Richie to get a couple, and these players starting to realise that these squad players can get quite a bit of minutes is enough to push them through. Yeah, I'm going 3-0 with about 4 to 5 changes. And
Troy Parrott, is he going to do anything?
Oh yeah, well
clearly not, because we're keeping a clean sheet.
No, he won't score. He's started off all right there, hasn't he? I mean, you guys know a bit more than me, but he banged a few goals.
I know. In one game he got 4 goals.
I think he's on 5 goals, second top goal scorer in the Eredivisie.
All right. Yeah, but I think all of them quite a lot of them come in one game, didn't they?
Yeah, 4 in one game, I think.
He got 1 in Europa League as well. 5 goals and 5 goals in the.
He'll get a nice warm reception at the Spurs Stadium, that's for sure.
Yeah. What's their results? Is it a draw and a win? What have they done so far?
They lost,
mid-table.
Yeah, they lost to Athletic Bilbao 2-0.
Yeah.
And
I think they've won one game.
Where's the other one? Oh, they lost to. Oh no. Where is it? And they beat Elfsborg 3-2.
Yeah.
They're actually on a run of 4 straight defeats. AZ Alkmaar.
Yeah, they're at the bottom of the table, I saw.
They lost to PSV 2-1, Sittard 1-0, Bilbao 2-0, and Utrecht 2-1. So they're actually on really bad form. They're 5th in the table.
5th?
Okay.
Yeah.
5th after that. They must have been flying at first.
They were down the bottom.
No, they're 5th.
And there's 5 in the league.
Maybe it's the form table I was looking at.
They're 5th in the Eredivisie on 16 points.
Or maybe it's Europa League. I'm looking.
Level points with Ajax in 3rd. So yeah, they were actually on really good form start of the season, and it's dropped off now. So hopefully we can capitalise on that.
Do you see Troy as a danger man, or if not, who do you see as a danger man? Is there anybody there that you've seen that we have to be concerned on? Do you think from their side, or?
Oh yeah.
There's a guy called Ibrahim Sadiq who scored 4 goals and got 3 assists this season. I've never seen him play. I can't say I watch AZ Alkmaar week in, week out. But if you're judging by the stats, in the top 4 goal scorers in the Eredivisie, Troy Parrott's 3rd and this guy's 4th. So they do score quite a few goals.
Okay.
Yeah,
still have the clean sheet.
They're 18th in the Europa League table. That's what I was looking at.
Yeah.
And that would still actually qualify, wouldn't it? With a knockout.
It would. I think the top 24 qualify. But yeah, obviously Tottenham sit 3rd in the Europa League table at the moment. So
would you see
if we get this win, we're essentially like a few. We're probably if we get this win, we're probably 1 win away from like top 8. To be honest.
Yeah.
It's so it puts us in a really good position.
it's interesting this because we haven't got much to go against. So we don't quite know. You know, like with relegation in the Premier League, we know what kind of points we need to get to, and we kind of know, don't we, how many points they need. But this, we don't really know. But you're right. I think another 2 wins and we're there. Just one last question, just for you guys, and I want to ask: who do you see as like the danger teams for picking this cup? Because I do see us as a massive chance winning this now. And there's a few teams that are like, I think Galatasaray, Roma, for me. But from you guys, who do you see as the ones to challenge?
I think number one would be Bilbao. I think Bilbao look like a really strong team. They haven't started the Europa League campaign that well, actually. They're sitting in 12th with 4 points from the first 2 games, which are unbeaten still, which is, I guess, is fair. But I'm looking at the teams in it. Roma have started it really badly with only 1 point.
They're 5th in La Liga, aren't they? So they're doing quite well in La Liga.
Yeah, they lost to Inter at home over the weekend. I think Bilbao are probably the number one team to look out for. Lazio have started it really well.
Lazio, that's it. Obviously Man U, but they're not anything to worry about, I don't think.
Nah, we'll smash Man U.
Lyon are a bit of a wild card because they've got good players, but players like Lacazette and Churk and
they've started with 2 wins.
And like they're a bit of a wild card, but also you'd just be very disappointed if we lost to Lyon, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I also think a bit of a wild card could be Galatasaray, just because Osimhen's there. They obviously got 100 points last year in the Turkish league, but they did go out of the qualifying to young boys for the Champions League, so they can't be that good if they didn't win that tie. So, but they do have very good players. You saw how they beat Man United last year, I think twice in the Champions League. So they're a bit of a wild card as well, I would say. But I don't think anyone's going to. Obviously, Porto, they're a good team as well. Can't rule them out. But
they're already
favourites.
They're already 8 points above Mourinho's Fenerbahce, Galatasaray in the league. Already 8 points. Yeah,
mad. Frankfurt as well, by the way, are doing. They've got Omar Mamouche who's doing so well.
Yeah.
In the Bundesliga at the moment. So Frankfurt, not to be so. There's a few good teams.
Yeah.
There's a few like decent teams, but there's no one like challenging for league titles here. There's no.
We shouldn't fit anyone. We should fit no one in this competition.
And also, there's no Champions League dropouts as well this time. So there's no team dropping that could, because apparently out of like the last since the Europa League has come in, I think over 50% or something has been Champions League dropouts who have won the competition. So not having them there is a massive advantage.
Yeah. I think with Galatasaray, they're dangerous, but I think they're more dangerous at their ground. You take them into a neutral ground, and I don't think the potency's there with that. But yeah, there is I think I'm in agreement with Bilbao. I think they're going to be up there, aren't they? They're going to be towards the knockout stages, and I think Roma, although they've started badly, I think they're something to watch.
Yeah. I just don't fancy Nico Williams coming up against the holes that we leave at fullback. I just don't fancy that too much. But I still think we can do a job on them for sure. I think we can hurt them as much as they can hurt us. It'll be an interesting game of football if we do come across them. But you playing at the ground this weekend on Thursday?
Yeah. So now on Thursday, I will be at Shelf Bar, which is level 1, block 120, pre and post game. Yeah, I'll be there.
Awesome.
Samuel Lynch says you should be the opener for Oasis. Come on, you Spurs. Have you got the call yet? We know. We saw Liam tweet out, "Come on, you Spurs" the other day when they were playing Arsenal. Maybe there's a bit of synergy there between you and
that was his like cryptic Glastonbury headliner thing. Like, who's going to be supporting?
That's his cryptic call that James Black is going to be supporting. Yeah, come on.
Well, there's going to be a reform, isn't there? So me and Sandro, we're getting back together. So
exactly.
I saw that with Yorkshire Spurs. That looked brilliant night. That looked like a proper brilliant night.
Oh, it's just like a bunch of mates now. It's real fun, and Dawson's amazing. And I know sort of Ledley's family as well. So I surprised Ledley with his on his birthday.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It's awesome. It was amazing. So that's 2 gigs we've done, and we're going to do Portsmouth together on November the 8th. Me and
incredible. I know we got a good friend of ours who's part of the Portsmouth fan club, so maybe we'll come and join him and see you down in Portsmouth. But we also got a members chat here from Charlie Vale saying, "It's James again. I just saw him this past Saturday." So another one of your fans in the chat here, Charlie Vale.
Yeah, hello, Charlie.
But I think that is all we have time for today. So I want to thank you, James, for coming on today. Please do remember to check James's social media for his EP coming out on Friday. Obviously, all the money raised will be going to Tottenham Food Bank. So an unbelievable cause. So credit to you, James, for helping them out there. But yeah, thank you for coming on today.
Thank you. I've enjoyed it, lads, and I'll hope to see you again soon. And let me know when you want me back on. I'll be well up for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Hope to get you on very, very soon. But everyone, if you're going to the stadium as well, go and check out James and his brilliant music before and after the game. But thank you also everyone in the chat for sticking around with us for this hour. We'll see you all very soon. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Yeah.